You're now experiencing the Gretna Bill Show.
Hey, welcome to the Gretna Bill Show, podcast about cycling culture here in central Pennsylvania, mid-Atlantic, and the world. So today we actually left the Shire and we came on the road down to Lancaster, Pennsylvania to restore hyper wellness and cryotherapy. And I've been coming here for about a year, and I usually come here for B12 shot, stretch, and cryotherapy itself. And so we're gonna go inside now. We're gonna meet Andy. He's an old-time cycling buddy. And all right, let's go inside. So Andy, where are we at now?
So right now we're in our IV drip zone, and at Restore we have a variety of IV hydration mechanisms available to everybody. We have registered nurses that work under the direction of nurse practitioners and a medical director, and effectively we're doing a number of different things in here. We do everything from micronutrient testing so that you can find out what you're deficient in, all the way up through IV drips. And then one of the things that Bill comes in for is B12 shots. So there are some, since this is a cycling show, there's some things that I always like to point out. You have to be familiar with the list of restrictions for your sport, and we always try to create some awareness around that. Anybody that's kind of in that USA cycling world, you can't have any infusions greater than 100 mLs. So our IV bags are 1,000 cc's. So basically, we focus on intramuscular injections with anybody that can't do an IV drip, but we have tons of people that are not involved in any of the USA Olympic sports that can do IV drips as well. And we've got a whole menu here. If you just want to flash on this, is our kind of IV cocktail menu. Everything from our nurses meet with every client first to figure out what it is that you're trying to accomplish, whether it's energy, whether it's pre-competition, post-competition, skin health. We've got an allergy drip, all sorts of different things. You definitely walk out feeling better after a drip because you're also taking in, like I said, 1,000 cc's of fluid, and most of us are chronically dehydrated. So this is extremely popular. And
I love these boards say it all.
Yeah.
These 3 poster boards. Speaking of dehydration, I drip because who can really drink 8 glasses of anything? Yeah, so I'm here with Becca at Restore, and this is the first part of my trifecta. And it is, I get B12 shot, and then I get stretch, and then I get cryotherapy. And the litmus test is I've been doing this for a long time, and I really feel much better on the ride after B12. And why is that?
Pretty much like the main reason why people are getting B12 as either an injection or an IV infusion is the best way that's the best way absorption. When you're taking it orally, you're only getting about 10 to 20% absorption. When you're getting it IV or when you're getting it as an injection, you're pretty much getting about 90 to 95% of an absorption rate. So your body's going to absorb much more of the vitamins that way than if you would be taking it orally.
And people dime me out and say, well, why are you spending the coin? Why don't you just do orally? And I'm like, well, you don't really, even if it's sublingual, you don't really absorb that much. But then we were talking earlier, and I drop a lot of money on supplements and vitamins, and not, I could spend that much on vitamins easily.
Oh, absolutely, we do.
And then some.
Yeah, especially like I talked about earlier, the CoQ10, that's a very expensive supplement, and a lot of times by the time you're purchasing it and taking it orally, you could just be getting a CoQ10 shot once a month, twice a month, and be spending the same amount of money.
I should be doing that because it's really expensive. And now, does the same absorption kind of general principle apply to CoQ10 as well?
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Because those bottles are really expensive, like $39.95, and to have any impact, you got to take 2 or 3. And how about explain to us a little bit about what CoQ10 helps the cyclist, helps an athlete, what it does for us?
CoQ10 it's great for your endurance. It's great for muscle recovery. It's also good for your heart. So if you are taking CoQ10, you might feel like you can do a lot more than you would be if you weren't taking it.
And then the B12 is just good for my red blood cells and for my metabolism.
Yep, and that's good for energy as well. It
Right
helps your
on.
body use energy much more efficiently, so you might not be as tired. And it's also good if you're feeling tired and you just need a little bit of extra energy.
I should go for a CoQ10 shot today too, as well.
Yeah, we could do a CoQ10.
Let's do it.
Yep. All right. Okay. We're gonna go. Do you want me to go ahead and give it to you now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, gonna feel a little stick here, okay? Ready?
Yep.
Hey. That's it. That was it.
That was painless. Oddly enough.
Good job.
Thanks, Becca. Thanks for everything. Yeah, so Mike, tell us about the room we're in now.
So this is our stretch zone, and this is where we do the stretch therapy. Stretch therapy uses elements of PNF stretching. We use elements of yoga. We use IASTM, which is instrument-assisted soft tissue mobilization. And what we do is typically we want you to get in a relaxed state first. So this will help increase circulation, help you get in a relaxed state, warm up your muscles. And then we're going to do a number of stretches. It's going to help increase mobility in your hamstrings, calves, hips, T-spine, everywhere that you might need it for whatever activity that you're deciding to take on.
Which would be cycling,
Yeah.
more cycling. Yeah, and I've had a couple and they're really good. And my main deal is ever since I had this left hip replaced about a year and a half ago, I have constant lower back pain. And that's why I do cryo, and that's why I came in for the stretching too. And in general, you know, my legs and my hamstrings just get junked up after a while.
Definitely. So usually with low back pain, your lumbar spine's not really meant to have a ton of rotation room. It wants to be pretty stable. So if your hips start to become immobile or not to move as much, your lower back can start to move excessively. So the best thing to do, I would say, start on your belly.
Shoes,
Yeah,
glasses.
take your shoes off. I'll give you a pair of socks.
Effectively, this is red light, so that's the visible lights that you saw, and then near infrared light. The near infrared light is what penetrates deep into your body. The red light penetrates just below your skin surface, and this used to be only available in laser form, so it was called low light laser therapy. About 5 or 6 years ago, they perfected putting it in LEDs like this, and there's over 5,000 clinical studies on photobiomodulation. Harvard has a whole center on photobiomodulation now.
So we're looking at skin health,
Yep.
muscle recovery, athletic performance, joint pain, sexual performance, body contouring, mental clarity, relaxation, and sleep. Who doesn't want those?
So there are people that are posting their testosterone levels before starting therapy like this, and then after, and there's clinical studies showing increases in testosterone levels. My blood pressure has decreased from the 140s over 90 to below 120 over 80 using this therapy, and tons of people. In fact, I just posted my sleep results. Before using photobiomodulation, my level of deep sleep was minimal. When I say minimal, like 8 minutes a night, and now is upwards of 2 hours a night.
That's significant. You know,
Yeah.
we were talking about that. I monitor my sleep, and I'm only up to maybe 37 to 40% deep sleep, which is out of 8 hours is.
Yeah, and you know, when you're a cyclist, restorative
Gotta
sleep
get it. Yeah.
is going to enable you to do those hard intervals, compete in the criteriums, do the hard efforts that you need to do. So basically, you take all your clothing off, and you're standing here for 15 minutes. You have tons of photoreceptors all over your body, and you're taking in near infrared and infrared light at specific wavelengths that stimulates your body's own production of ATP.
I'll lay that. I'll go back to bio and I'll say andazone triphosphate, which is the key ingredient in metabolism in the mitochondria.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes.
So basically stimulates your body's natural energy production. And if you notice, I don't know if they show, but there's some lights that aren't even visible here. Some of these LEDs.
Yeah, correct.
So those are the near infrared lights, which are not even in the visible spectrum. So you actually can't see those lights. I'll turn this off so that it doesn't affect your camera. So this has been super popular. These are 15-minute sessions. $25 for members. It's everything that we do in here, we try to be super affordable about. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. So off we go to cryotherapy.
And this is where we're going to end up. We're going to freeze this chamber down to about minus 225 degrees. And then we're going to put Bill in here. I would like to point out, many people may have seen the Antonio Brown news where he got frostbite on his feet.
Right.
That should never happen. And the reason that should never happen is we will not let Bill wear his own socks in here. We supply every client with dry socks. So you can imagine reaching into an oven without an oven mitt, you're going to burn your hand.
Yeah.
And if you're going into minus 225 degrees with sweaty socks on, even if you're only in there for 3 minutes, that's going to freeze to your feet. And when you pull those off, it's going to do some damage. So we provide dry socks, we provide a pair of slippers, and we don't let people, we've turned people away that have said they want to use they have socks on, they're going to wear their own socks. So we're super safe.
To be clear, Mike put these on.
Yeah, I know. These are our socks.
There we look at Bill's socks.
Yep.
Yeah, so I first came here, actually, so I went to another cryotherapy place in Lancaster, and I originally came because of knee pain, but more importantly, since my back pain, lower back is just killing me.
Yep.
And literally. And so I went there and I got a modicum of relief, but I wanted more. And then when I came here, when I realized Andy was doing this, I realized that this equipment was a lot more commercial grade. It looked beefier, and then it translated into a much more effective 3-minute cryotherapy. Why was that? I mean, why aren't they all the same?
So if you want to walk over here, I actually want to show you where we store our liquid nitrogen, Josh, if we walk around the corner. So a lot of centers use small little tanks to store their liquid nitrogen. We actually use a 5,500 liter tank. That's our liquid nitrogen storage tank right there. And the difference with this versus smaller tanks, so a lot of cryo centers will have rooms like this with what are called Dewar's tanks in them. And as the level of nitrogen in those tanks falls, the pressure tends to change and drop as well. And the client then has a very inconsistent session from one session to the next. So these large tanks do a couple of things. Number one is they maintain a constant pressure. So if you do a session today, next week, next month, next year, it's going to be consistently cold. The other thing, basically we're purchasing nitrogen in bulk. So in every market that we're in, we're the most affordable place to do cryotherapy. And then there's even some safety features that you don't see that I always like to tell people about. We've got oxygen sensors throughout the building that monitor the oxygen level, and then we have fans in the ceiling that pump any excess nitrogen out of the building, which is naturally occurring in the environment anyway. So we do try to take things to the next level. That machine we use has tons of fans in. We couldn't move it. The three of us couldn't move it if we wanted to.
Wow.
Because it has so many fans in that help this air circulation. And if you don't have the right machine and it doesn't circulate the liquid nitrogen mist, you can run into issues as well. So we do take safety as a first priority before anything. You're at 86 degrees to start out. We'll measure that again, and what we're looking for is about at least a 20 degree temperature drop to know that you had a good session. So we're going to open this door.
So at what temperature am I going to go in at?
You're going to go in at minus 182, and it's going to drop from there. All right, so go ahead and trade me the robe, and I'm going to give you a pair of mittens. Love the glasses, by the way.
Thanks.
That's good.
There you go. All right, so basically, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so this completes my trifecta visit to Restore.
Yeah.
So I usually get the B12 shot, and then I do the stretch.
Yep.
And then I complete the process with cryotherapy, and I love it because it does immediately give me relief. So from my pains in all my joints, so explain to us what is actually happening here.
Yeah, so basically what's happening is, when you're going into, this is at minus, the temperature is going to get to minus 225, 230 degrees. Your body goes into a fight or flight mode, and it tries to protect itself. So to do that, your vessels are going to constrict, and all the blood is going to rush to your core to protect your vital organs like your heart and your lungs. It's going to pick up tons of extra oxygen, extra nutrients, anti-inflammatory proteins. When Bill steps out, the opposite's going to happen. Your vessels are going to vasodilate and open up, and all that oxygen-rich, nutrient-rich blood is going to rush that anti-inflammatory effect throughout your entire system.
Basically, you're simulating hyperthermia.
Yeah, I mean, this is
all the blood is rushing to my core and my brain to protect them from freezing. And then when I step out, it's all going to rush out, carrying with it all toxins.
Yeah, effectively, this is the 3-minute ice bath, except there's a lot of other benefits that you get as well. There's a lot of endorphins that get released in the brain from cryotherapy, so most people feel really good. They're actually studying these chambers for mood and anxiety disorders. You get a big boost of collagen from a cryotherapy session as well. Which collagen is great for your skin, but it's also a joint lubricant as well.
Right. I need that.
That's right.
That's for more reasons than one, right?
Absolutely. So, and if you think of inflammation as a gas tank in your body, one cryotherapy session is going to knock it down a little bit. But if you can do a lot of sessions close together initially, you'll really eradicate inflammation out of your body, and then you can go on more of a maintenance phase over time.
Have you? Would you comment, and is there any correlation between white or yellow fat and brown fat? Brown fat is what we want, it's the good fat.
That's
stuff
correct.
We're born with, right?
That's correct. There are some studies that would show that, and there's some studies with the infrared sauna as well, that look at stimulation of brown fat versus kind of the bad fat that we have in our bodies also.
Right.
Yep. So there's tons of good chemical reactions that take place in the body. And it's natural. It's we're not putting anything into the body. It's all external.
Whenever I come in here, I'm always with an attendant, or in this case, Andy, and it really helps when they talk to you.
If you want to pop over here, Josh, I'm going to crack this door. His session's just about over. We're going to pop the robe over to him, and he's going to give me his mittens.
We're going to check skin temperature.
And when he steps out, we'll check his skin temperature, see what that got down to. We got it from 86 down to 60 degrees, so that's a good 26-degree temperature.
Think about that. Is that pretty good?
That's really good, yeah.
It felt cold today.
You feel good?
Yeah, more than usual. And I got to say, granted, it's a progressive thing, and it's something you got to keep after, which I do.
Yep.
I'm in here twice a month or so, but I've got immediate relief in my lower back and my sciatic area, just like that.
Awesome.
Plus, I feel better.
Yeah, totally. Good stuff. Good session.
Was that room number 1?
You were in here. You were right in here.
That was room number 2. Yep. That's the one I'm going to pick today. Hey, thanks everybody for joining another podcast of the Gretna Bill Show about cycling culture. And also, I want to thank our sponsors, which are GUERCIOTTI Bicycles, and you can find their products at GUERCIOTTIUSA.com, and LUPINE Lighting Systems, and you can find their products at LUPINENorthAmerican.com. And thanks again for joining us, and hope to see you again soon.